So here's the question. Can you or your family members immediately recognize when an active shooter or a horrific event is going down? Okay, how many of you watching this have never heard a gunshot in real life, have never been next to a firearm or heard an actual firearm explosion? On the flip side of that coin, how many of you that do recognize gunfire can identify what type and where it's coming from? Let me give you a couple quick suggestions. I'm going to ask you a second question before I do. Is there a difference between a 22 round gunshot and a 12 gauge shotgun? Absolutely. Is there a difference between a 12 gauge shotgun and a 9mm sound? Absolutely. Is there a difference between a 9mm sound and a 223 or an M4 or an AK-47? Absolutely. Can you recognize the distinction, the differences? A lot of us can, but for those who can't, here's something to keep in mind. By the way, my name is Mike, and I teach safety and defense tactics to individuals, companies, and groups. So here's the deal. I've had extensive talks with my daughters and families about the following. If you hear loud booms and cracks and you're not sure what it is, take a quick second and just see if you can identify and recognize the situation. Is it a car backfiring? Is it kids lighting fireworks? Is it someone's tire blowing? Or is it actual gunshots and sounds of destruction and death? I've told my kids, unless it's the 4th of July or New Year's Eve and you hear a pop or bang, automatically assume that it could potentially be something scary until you figure out what it is. It's not being paranoid, it's just having a little bit of prevention, having some recognition, and if you're not sure what it is, make sure you have the ability to respond or react accordingly. And that usually means escape or get out of Dodge. I interviewed personally a couple dozen people that survived the Las Vegas MGM shooting. It was a horrific event and an active shooter, and it was something that a lot of people will never forget their entire lives. But one of the individuals I interviewed said, when the gunshot started, the first thing I thought was, God, what kind of a jerk brings firecrackers to a concert? She said, it never even occurred to me that it could be gunfire. And then it didn't stop, it kept going until finally the individual next to me was shot and went down, and that's when sudden horror came. So my only tip is try to recognize sights, sounds, even smells around you. Pay attention to your surroundings. And when things go on or you hear something abnormal, just take a quick second and try to figure out what it is. And the best response, the best way to deal with any kind of a disaster emergency is to create distance and remove yourself from the environment. Whether you utilize, believe in, or endorse firearms is not even the question, but understanding how they work and what they do and sound like is pretty important. So if you've never been around firearms, maybe ask someone who goes shooting frequently to let you come by, go to a shooting range, or just try to have some basic real-world identification and sounds on these things. It does make a difference. Just a little